have worked in assisting and organizing programs and events, but I have been a greater time in customer relations, and I enjoy finding solutions that are sustainable and effective. What makes me very good at this job, what would make me very good at this job, is that I take customers' issues and make them my own until they are resolved. As parents, we have more in common than we have differences, and working towards common issues will improve our schools and our city.
Actually, I have a quick follow-up question on that. Many of us here have attended the board meetings that happen every month, and I assume everybody in the panel has also attended a monthly Board of Ed meeting. And one of the things that many people talk about is the unwelcoming environment that the Board of Ed meeting is when a parent chooses to stand up and address the board, where there's this gigantic table with a parent standing at a podium that's 40 feet away from the people. What do you think of that environment, and how would you change that?
Well, as intimidating as it is, that the environment that it's set, I believe that because the person would be centered, the parent would be centered, everybody else would gain better visibility. I don't see how you can maintain that visibility without it feeling so intimidating with such a large location filled with so many different people, and you really can't make a circle and have any way you look at it because of the numbers and size, it's going to feel intimidating unless you are naturally a public speaker and very comfortable in that environment.
Can I ask Ms. Carroll to respond to that? Thank you.
I believe the way we deal with the potential intimidation of the board process is by empowering our parents to know that they have the support that they need to be able to stand before that board and tell the board what they think. And that doesn't happen overnight. It has to be very intentional, very deliberate. It has to be a culture that we create where parents know their voice is important and or they're right to tell us what they think. And if you change the culture so that board members are accessible, so that board members listen, some of the things I've heard people saying here, parents won't feel that intimidation when they know that they have a right to be there, and we, as a board, are going to be receptive to what they're saying.
I'm going to ask Ms. Mack the same question as a board member who actually sits in her.
And I'm going to try to say this politely, but if you think the parents aren't welcome, you should see what the board members go through. I mean, it's a rough environment. I mean, ask Carol Lester how welcome she feels by the Board of Education. Ask Sterling Waterman how welcome they feel. When I started on the board, I was on the other side of the table. Terry DeHare is in the back. 15 years ago, I stood up, 16 years ago, I stood up and I went to a board meeting. I had to find out when there was a board meeting, and I was at the end. I came on and I won, you know, Rowan and all these people out here know my story. You don't have to hear it. But the problem is, and I hear Dr. Epps say it all the time, he says, why are you here? You should be back at the schools. You shouldn't be here. Well, I take everybody, I'm in the phone book. I listen to every call, but we've lost touch with it. They don't want the board members to be involved. They don't want the public to be involved. It's got to change. It's really got to change.
What question you want? I didn't get to answer the previous question also.
Okay. Your full minute and a half. And then.
Okay. Going back to the executive decision-making process, this question involves so much. You know, I'm not going to sit up here and make campaign promises to you and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And when I get on the board, realize, uh-oh, wait a minute, put the brakes on. State legislature says I can't do this and do that as a board for you. The New Jersey School Board Association held a seminar for all candidates, Jersey City School, all school board candidates. I took them up on that and I attended that seminar. I just want to let you know from the New Jersey School Board Association, what are our roles, if elected, to be on that board. School boards are thus agents of the state, charged with administering the school function delegated to them by the legislature. We're not local elected official, if elected, we're state elected. More importantly, what is the relationship between the board and the superintendent who makes the final decision? The function of the school board is not to run the school, but to see that they are run effectively. With that said, I believe firmly to make any executive decision, you have to be well informed of what it is that you're going to make a decision that's going to affect something so important as our children's education. My tenure with the Department of Public Affairs has been there for 13 years as a manager. I work closely with the department director to oversee a $14 million budget and